As mentioned by Crochet, the runners are mounting around here for the Blue Spec Drilling Boulder Cup at listed level. 2100 metres here out of Kalgoorlie, race number 8. And we start with He's a Parker, trained by Heck McLaren, who is absolutely no stranger to success here in the Goldfields. The 1999 Boulder Cup with Sister Patricia and the 1971 Hannon's handicap winning trainer produces He's a Parker here, a 5-year-old He's a Decoy gelding who won last year's Pinjarra Cup.
Yes, he's had some good ones, a lot of success, even Corporate Bruce in the Hannons many years ago, but wasn't too far behind Touch of Silver in the Coolgardie Cup. He was making ground. He has 2 wins and a placing from 4 tries at this distance, so looks better suited today. He's a Parker. Yes, tricky draw. He may look to press forward, but his ultimate aim is the Kalgoorlie Cup in 2 weeks' time.
He's 5th up this preparation and he looks very, very fit. Number 2 in Touch of Silver, trained by Adam Durant. Mitch Pateman takes the ride here. Draws a gate, which he didn't have in the Coolgardie Cup. He got a long way off them. He ran one of the fastest final 600-metre markers. He was beaten 3 lengths by Fair Scenario on that occasion.
He found the line well in that Coolgardie Cup after settling a long way back from a bad gate. He gets a good gate today. He won't be as far back and won't be wide. He hasn't won over 1,800 metres, but he'll probably be able to get away with it on this track. Probably no other track, but this track you might be able to get away with it. I think he's the one to beat.
Number 3, Barry's Rabbit, trained by Fredo Brown. Kira Yule takes the ride, draws an inside gate. For those that haven't seen in the race book, it's 55 kilos. Kira Yule to ride 1 kilo over, as she did in the Coolgardie Cup when she was a very, very good run on the replay in the Coolgardie Cup behind Fair Scenario.
Yes, indeed, and his 3 runs back in have been very good. That's the grey on the screen. He's taken ground off of Tats Cup and Coolgardie Cup winner Fair Scenario on both occasions. He will get back in the run, so he needs luck, the grey.
Number 4, Boomalaka, ran absolutely out of his skin. A 7-year-old Viscount gelding, now trained by Brian Allen. Jason Brown, a noted front-running rider, picks up the ride here, and it looks as though Boomalaka is your likely leader.
Yeah, he definitely so, Scott. The Coolgardie Cup, he was the best of the locals by far. The ability to jump, puts himself on speed, and he'll run those same sectionals all day long, Boomalaka. He needs to reproduce that run to be competitive.
Number 5, Dark Prospect, has been a market mover here for Neville Parnham and Steve Parnham. $18 into 8, a good go for number 5, a Blackfriars 6-year-old, drawn an outside alley and had no luck last start when the saddle moved.
Yeah, Neville Parnham trainer just legged aboard son Stephen there, and it looks an absolute picture. Dark Prospect didn't mind the run in the Coolgardie Cup, had gear issues, his breastplate broke and then the saddle slipped back. Still was able to finish 4th. He may look to work forward in this from the wide gate. Might be problematical. Distance and track suits don't take lightly, Dark Prospect.
Number 6, First Affair, was absolutely luckless in the Coolgardie Cup. Held up the entire length of the home straight when beaten 8, and the money has come. $4.80 into $3.90 here. Adam Durant, Willie Pike, drawn an inside alley.
Yeah, she's looking for back-to-back wins in the Boulder Cup. Fair Scenario was well fancied here 2 weeks ago. Was blocked for the entire, as you mentioned, complete forgive run. She's only a small mare, a pint-size mare, so you don't want to see her get cluttered up and getting hammered on the inside there, but maps to get a good run, and if the gaps appear, she could be the one.
And a fiery galloper, number 7, 5 Degrees, a 5-year-old mare by Frost Giant, now left in the care of Dave Smith. Fiona Bell picks up the ride, another natural on pacer.
Yeah, definitely so, with speed to burn. Raced in a flat manner 2 weeks ago here. Can show speed, as mentioned, and is probably your early leader in this. Obviously, Boomalaka will come across and also a couple of others, but needs to improve.
I thought if you're having a throw at the stumps at about 50 to 1, that she might be one to include at least in the novelties. Number 8, Gangbuster, the blinkers go off, the winkers go on. Jade McNaught takes the ride for Peter Fernie.
He was kicked out of the gates to be prominent last start, but deep into a preparation, Gangbuster. I thought he'd find this tough.
Number 9, Inject the Venom. Last year's Kalgoorlie Cup winner is 61 into 12. A really, really good go at a price for the 8-year-old Harlebeck gelding. Trained by Peter Fernie, Randy Tan takes the ride.
Yeah, big market support, as you suggested there, Scott, trying to resurrect some of that Kalgoorlie Cup winning form from last year. He's only been average for mine this time in. He is getting older, a couple of few quirks. This looks too hard for mine.
Number 10, Malden's Mill, 71 into 21, another one at a price that they've had a bit of a nibble at. Drawn gate number 8 for Fredo Brown and Craig Staples.
Yeah, well up in class here, but ran home well to fill the minors behind Pink and Purple, who we saw run a really good race there yesterday at Belmont Park, passing.
Number 11 in No Say, and it is 440 out to 550. 3 starts ago, a winner over Double Digit who ran second in the Coolgardie Cup. Last start beaten a half length by Spiritual Warrior, formerly trained here in Kalgoorlie and affectionately known as Bucky.
Bucky gets in well here on the minimum, Scott. Minimum weight efforts in town have been very good. Lindsay Spith, no stranger to Kalgoorlie. He knows what type of horse to send up to Cal, and he's had a lot of success in doing so here in the previous years. He has to be in the mix.
Number 12, Rhino Buster, one of the outsiders, a 7-year-old Danehill Express gelding.
Yeah, yet to win at this track, Rhino Buster. Always looks an absolute treat in the yard yet again, but just don't think he's going good enough.
This is one of the more interesting runners you'll ever see in a Boulder Cup. Number 13, Swift Platinum, a winner of a Roban Cup, a winner of a Broome Cup, a winner of Peter Evans Memorial at Carnarvon. Now here to a Boulder Cup, trained by Peter Bamford. Michelle Hagley takes the ride.
Yeah, what a total revolution this horse has been up on the dirt, and not one-dimensional either. We've seen him lead, and last start in the Carnarvon Cup, sit back and charge home. So he's in the zone, Swift Platinum. Looks very fit when he left the yard, and as you would expect, all that racing up there. Winning form deserves respect.
Number 14 thrown in the deep end by Heck McLaren. He's got the top weight and the bottom weight. Number 14, Upward Others. He's a decoy gelding. He's a 5-year-old.
Yeah, he was in the lower assessed staying race here 2 weeks ago, ran 4th after getting back from a wide gate. Expect improvement today from the draw. He could be a blowout.
Race number 8 at Kalgoorlie is the Blue Spec Drilling Boulder Cup, a listed race over 2,111 metres. It's handicapped as an 83 plus race here. We've got Heezer Parker and Touch of Silver who are above the minimum. Every other runner here is racing outside the handicap. We'll have a quick look at this market with 5 minutes still to play until the running of race number 8 here. The early favourite has been Touch of Silver, and it looks as though he'll jump your favourite. $8 out to 11, Heezer Parker, number 1. Number 2, Touch of Silver, $4 into 360. Barry's Rabbit, Unwanted, 10 out to 31. Boomalaka has been a firmer, 71 into 21. Number 5, Dark Prospect, has been found in the market, 18 into 8. First Affair, 480 into 380. The Willie Pike followers have jumped aboard this one. Number 7, 5 Degrees, opened up 16, now 61. 31 to 51, back into 31 for Gangbuster. 71 into 18 for Inject the Venom. 71 into 26 for Malden's Mill. They've both met with support. Number 11, No Say in it, 440 out to 550, back into 460. Rhino Buster, 91, 81. Now 13, Swift Platinum, opened up 8 out to 12, the Dirt Galloper. And number 14, Upward Others, who opened up 15, is now 34. Looks as though he's going to jump your favourite, the grey. Number 2, Touch of Silver. Crashane Warren, can I get your top selections ahead of race number 8 at Kalgoorlie, the Blue Spec Drilling Boulder Cup?
Yeah, 2, 1, 6 and 5 for me, Scott. Top 4 selections going into this year's edition, the listed Boulder Cup, 2, 1, 6 and 5. I've gone the safe option, Touch of Silver. Yes, it is problematical over the journey, but I think on this track he'll be able to get away with it, and caught the eye in the Coolgardie Cup running those fast closing sectionals, settling a long way back. I think the draw really stands out here this afternoon. He drew a bad alley 2 weeks ago, and I don't think he'll get far back. So Touch of Silver on top. Heezer Parker, look for him. With the ultimate aim on the card is the Kalgoorlie Cup in 2 weeks' time, so he'll put on a show here today. He's a Parker, and he's been settled in out at Campbelder, and I think the 2-week break into this, and then obviously on to the Kalgoorlie Cup in 2 weeks is ideal. Number 1, First Affair, bottled up there in Barrier 3. William Pike aboard, was well fancied 2 weeks ago, blocked the entire length of the straight, and he won't let that happen twice, William Pike, on First Affair, and she has won here before, so she likes the track First Affair. And 5, Dark Prospect, as you mentioned, there's been good support for it in betting, and I think it's suited this track. So 2, 1, 6 and 5, Scott.
2, 1, 6 and 5 for Crashane Warren. We've got a little bit of time before they start loading in, so we'll grab Peter Bamford for a quick word, who's turned this Galloper Swift Platinum around. Peter, first actual start for you on the grass, which is amazing. Where do you expect to see your Galloper in the run?
Oh, I think he'll be in the first 1 or 2, for sure.
And you think he can take his dirt form, his Carnarvon form, his Port Hedland form, his Broome Cup form here onto Kalgoorlie dirt?
Yeah, I'm hoping he can. I'm pretty sure he can. He handles all going pretty well, and he comes from behind, leads. He's pretty versatile, old fella.
He certainly is, as are you. And if he progresses through this race quite impressively today, do you expect to see him in the Kalgoorlie Cup?
Oh, well, we're up here now. We might as well stay, eh?
Good luck.
Thank you.
There's Peter Bamford, who's done a wonderful job with the grey Swift Platinum. He's gone from strength to strength since joining his stable. The runners are starting to load in for the 2019 Blue Spec Drilling Boulder Cup, headed up by number 2, Touch of Silver, who will jump your favourite, Dave Sheehan, to call all the action.
Touch of Silver and Barry's Rabbit. Swift Platinum won the recent Broome Cup. He's a dashing style of runner, likes to get out and go. Swift Platinum and Boomalaka will probably set the speed here. So it should be a genuinely run race. Looks right on his toes, Swift Platinum. Comes along. So the last few to link up, 5 degrees. Dark Prospect to walk forward and will be set to go. Boulder Cup 2019. Of course, the Tab Touch Hannon's coming up on Thursday week. And then followed up on that Saturday by the Iron Jack Kalgoorlie Cup. Dark Prospect comes along. Now 5 degrees to come up. Thanks, Stu. They're almost set. Starters in position. Red lights are on. Boulder Cup. Stand up nicely. Barry's Rabbit drawn the inside gate. Gates spring back, they're off and racing in 5 degrees, reared at the start, lost a couple of lengths. Boomalaka got going fast, also showing speeders. Swift Platinum, he's burning up there and is going to take over the Broome Cup winners. Going to probably lead here, although he wants to run a little bit wide on the track. Rhino Buster's kicking up and Swift Platinum's very wide and unruly out of the home straight. No saying it's over on the outside. They were followed by Injector Venom, Touch of Silver. Now these runners being pulled up. I would say that this is a false start. With something obviously happening there. Swift Platinum was about to come across, so maybe some of the gates didn't release there, but we'll have to check this with the stewards. The starter is now walking down the straight, so a sensation there in the Boulder Cup with a false start. Most of the runners have been gathered up fairly well, and some of them are only going very slowly over there at the 1200, so I'd say they would be okay, most of these horses, but we'll just get confirmation from the stewards to actually the officially what happened there. With 5 degrees rearing there. He was drawn in gate number 2 for Fiona Bell. Reared up at the start. So we'll have some confirmation shortly from the stewards as to what happened there. But I'd say all these runners will be okay because of the fact that they've been able to slow them down and stop them. So no doubt we have a delay here, and as soon as we get some information I'll pass that through.
Actually come back into the mounting yard and dismount the jockeys. So it looks as though it's going to be a fair delay here. The gates haven't moved, and then we've got runners coming back into the mounting yard. So Mitch Pateman with Touch of Silver's just dismounted. Barry's Rabbit, who's a little bit fired up here. He can get that way. He's going to be with Kira Yule there mounting in the mounting yard enclosure, and he's going sideways very, very quickly there. So these runners are returning to scale here, and they're coming back into the mounting yard, and looks as though they're going to dismount.
So the reason there for the
just hearing some news from Dave
false
Sheehan
start
here
was 5 degrees in gate 2, broke through earlier. So that's the reason there from the stewards, that 5 degrees who drew gate 2 broke through at the start earlier. So that was the reason for the false start. These runners are going back behind the gates. A couple of them have come back in the yard, but they should head straight back around behind the barriers. And I'd say most of them are okay. Obviously the vet will run the eye over, but I would say they'd be okay, these horses. They didn't do too much there at all. So we'll have more news as we get it, but that was the reason there, with 5 degrees from gate 2 breaking through, causing the false start.
False start. It looks as though 5 degrees had broken through the gates when it reared as the starter was about to hit the go button. Some of these runners did come back into the mounting yard, including Barry's Rabbit and Touch of Silver, with Kira Yule and Mitch Pateman dismounting, but the stewards are quick to send these runners back out onto the track. Willie Pike is dismounted on First Affair. He's just being legged up now. They will head back towards the gates and they will mill around behind the starting gates and be loaded in once again. So it looks as though 5 degrees is also now going to be led back with the clerk of the course and will be a runner in this field. So, Crishane Warren, is there any way that this could change your top 4 selections?
So they're getting them all back and vetted behind the barriers. We're just going to try and talk to the chairman of stewards, if we could, who is over there attending with a couple of the horses. But the 2 that were in question were First Affair and also 5 degrees, we believe. Scott?
Yes, it looks as though Chris Cortland's walking over there. I might be able to grab him on his way back to the stewards' tower and get an official explanation. Chris is marching across, and I'm going to try and match his speed and grab him on his way through. Chris, can you give us a quick explanation as to what happened?
Yeah, so we had the Hawkeye vision we lost, but we've had a horse break through the gates prematurely. So the gate barriers have opened. That's caused another horse to rear up and caused a false start. So the starter's called a false start. We're getting all the horses vetted behind the barriers, and we'll...
so just getting some information through from the stewards that the vet will run the eye
Chris Cortland
over these horses, obviously. With the false start there, the vet will run the eye over the horses, but I'd be very surprised if there's any problem with them all. They didn't go too far, so we'll have any news if there's any problems with any of the runners.
Expectations?
Well, he's drawn a bit awkward in the gates. He's drawn the outside, but and that's going to be a bit tricky. But look, he seems to be okay, through that false start. So we'll probably look at perhaps dropping him back. But Steve's going to come out a bit neutral and work it out from there. But I think he's a reasonably good chance in the race. He's trained up well. He wasn't ideal coming back in distance last start, but we decided to go that way and bring him up for the 3 cups and. I think this is his best chance.
What happened last start? It looked as though, in reading in the stewards' report, there were a few gear issues.
Yeah, Steve said when he came out the gates, not sure if he touched the side of the gates and the breastplate snapped, which during the course of the race then the saddle slipped back. So put him in an awkward position on the horse. And I thought he did a good job to run fourth. Steve did too. So distance won't be a problem where it might be for a couple of the others.
Good luck, Neville.
Cheers. Thank you.
Well, it was Andrew Inglis that smiled at Neville Parnham when we grabbed him, so we're going to turn it around and ask him a few questions. Inject the Venom, the money's on, 61 into 12, Andrew. What are your expectations of last year's Kalgoorlie Cup winner?
Scotty, I don't know. Well, we're going to have a good crack at it, but we've probably always set the horse for the Cal Cup. It's sort of, I think once we won it last year and it was, not expected last year, we sort of said, we'll see what we can do next year. We knew the ratings went up, so we've just been tapping around and hopefully we'll run a good race today. It was a good race that we ran the other week in the Coolgardie Cup, so we're well, going all right. And Randy was going all right there. He got himself in a nice little spot, but obviously it's all over at this point in time. So, yeah.
In the second version of the Boulder Cup, where would you like to see him in the run?
Version 2, yes, version 2. I think there's pace in it. You can see that already, that there's a bit of pace going on. So we'll sort of just sit midfield or something like that with a bit of luck. And old golden hands, Randy Tan, will hopefully get us there at when it counts the most.
Good luck.
Thank you, mate. Thanks, Scotty.
There's Andrew Ingles. He's managing owner of the last year's Kalgoorlie Cup winner, Inject the Venom, looking to bounce back to a bit of form for Peter Fernie and Randy Tan. There's a really good crowd here today at Boulder Cup, and I think we've got a little bit of vision to show our audience at home on Sky Thoroughbred Central. It's very much been a day out, and it's only going to get bigger and better as we head into the traditional annual race round here at Kalgoorlie. We've got the Hannon's Handicap on the Thursday and a standalone meeting for the Kalgoorlie Cup here on a Saturday this year. It's going to be a blockbuster of a Kalgoorlie Cup. Krishane Warren, can we get a recap of your top 4 selections here ahead of the version 2 of the Boulder Cup?
Version 2 of the Boulder Cup, Scott. 2, 1, 6 and 5. Haven't changed them around for Take 2. Touch of Silver, not clearly on top, but I've just gone the safe option here as we're just monitoring them. They're milling around at the start again for Take 2. And they're about to link up again very shortly. They have closed off and didn't reopen fixed betting, of course. But Touch of Silver currently at $3.90, ahead of First Affair $4.70, $5.80 for No Say in It, and $12 Swift Platinum. So they've gone out. A couple have drifted in the market. 2, 1, 6 and 5, Scott. No changes.
2, 1, 6 and 5 for Krishane Warren ahead of the Boulder Cup of 2019, and it looks as though all these runners have been vetted, and it looks as though they will all take their place in the second version of this year's Boulder Cup. They're starting to load in. I can see Barry's Rabbit going forward and Rhino Buster as well as Boomer Lacquer, and there's already one in the gates. So we'll send you up now to Dave Sheehan for the calling of race number 8 at Kalgoorlie, the Blue Spec Drilling Boulder Cup, a listed 2100.
$3.80 about First Affair. $5 about No Saying It. He's a Parker, $8.50. So there doesn't appear any problem with these runners. 23 to Barry's Rabbit, getting out to a very good price. Boomer Lacquer's 23. 71 5 degrees. Gangbuster 34. 20 Inject the Venom. 34 Morden's Mill. 81 about Rhino Buster. 14 Swift Platinum. Stand by. Yeah, broadcast, yep. Number 4. Okay, it's out. Is it? Yep. Okay, yep. So we have a late scratching. Number 4, Boomer Lacquer is the only one. Number 4, Boomer Lacquer is a late scratching. Number 4, Boomer Lacquer is a late scratching there. It's the only one that the vet didn't handle at first start there, so it's just coming back to the mounting enclosure now. Boomer Lacquer as these other runners start to move up. Bookmakers rule a line. Announcement of betting will be made after the race. So Boomer Lacquer, a late scratching there in the cup. So he's out. We'll have an announcement to betting here very shortly, but he's out, Boomer Lacquer. So the rest of these runners will start to come along here for the big one of the afternoon. So Boomer Lacquer's out. Now, waiting on No Say in It. 5 degrees to come along. Barry's Rabbit set on the inside, so most of these runners are all set. So No Say in It and 5 degrees. They're the ones to come up to the barriers here, and we'll be set to go. $100,000 race. Blue Spec Drilling Boulder Cup 2019. No Saying It, still out of line along with 5 degrees. Rest of these runners are loaded away, so I'd say they'd get them in fairly quickly. So 5 degrees and No Saying It. 2 that are out. Chris Wells, who owns the No Saying It, is here on course today. Good to see Chris here. 5 degrees to come up. So Boomer Lacquer, the one that didn't handle the false start. The rest of them didn't go too far. They were okay. Don't forget the Tab Touch Hannons on Thursday week and the Iron Jack Kalgoorlie Cup following the Hannons on the Saturday. So these last two, not sure why they're not going up. No Saying It. And the rider's dismounted on No Saying It. That's Peter Nucky. Peter Nucky on No Saying It has dismounted off No Saying It. So whether we have another scratching here or not, I'm not sure. I'd say it's out. I'll get some official confirmation. No Saying It. Stand by. Broadcast. Yep. Thank you. So No Saying It is a late scratching. Rule of line. No Saying It. Late scratching. So Boomalaka and No Saying It are both out. So 5 degrees to come up. No Saying It. Late scratching. So they're almost set to go. No Saying It and Boomalaka, the two that are out. Now 5 degrees to come up. And we might get them away. Can't help these things, they happen, but No Saying It. A late scratching, it was right in the market too. Now 5 degrees has drawn gate number 2 and he's about to come along if they can get him up. He goes along, set, red lights on, stand by, set. Gate spring back off 5 degrees. He jumped up in the air. He's missed it about 6-7 lengths this time. Gangbuster won the start. Goes straight to the lead. Here comes Swift Platinum charging over. He'll take over. Then came Rhino Buster. They were followed by First Affair, who's on the outside of Barry's Rabbit, who got away well. Inject the Venom is over on the outside of Touch of Silver. Then came He's a Parker. Upward Others going through on the inside, passing him. Further 1.5 to Dark Prospect. Morden's Mill and 5 lengths away to 5 degrees, who's last of all inside the 1600, and Swift Platinum, the Broome Cup winner, out in front. He'll be hard to catch. He leads by 2 lengths on Gangbuster. A further 2.5 to Barry's Rabbit. He's over on the inside third and a half back on the outside to Rhino Buster. Then First Affair round the outside. Inject the Venom from Touch of Silver. Upward Others. He's back on the fence here. A further length to He's a Parker. Malden's Mill. He's well back with Dark Prospect. 5 degrees is at the rear of the field. Going down the back straight, and Swift Platinum past the 1100. He's charging along out in front. He's travelling beautifully. Leads by 2.5 on Gangbuster. A further 4 lengths to Barry's Rabbit. The speed's right on in the cup. 2 lengths away to Rhino Buster. They were followed then by over on the outside First Affair from Upwards Others. Then came Inject the Venom, last year's Kalgoorlie Cup winner. He's on the outside of Touch of Silver. They're well off the leader. Long way back Dark Prospect, Malden's Mill, He's a Parker. 5 degrees is last of all. Swift Platinum at the 600 by 2. Gangbuster 2 away to Barry's Rabbit. Then a further 1.5 to First Affair. Rhino Buster. Upward Others through on the inside. Touch of Silver's come out 4 wide. The leader's still 3 in front though. Then came Inject the Venom. Dark Prospect, he's wide around the corner, and Swift Platinum, the Broome Cup winner. Can he do it? He's 2.5 in front. Gangbuster. Barry's Rabbit with his run on the outside. Inside the 200. On the outside, Gangbuster. Barry's Rabbit. Swift Platinum battling away. First Affair. Touch of Silver and Dark Prospect. Gangbuster in front. First Affair trying hard to get in. Gangbuster in front, and Gangbuster's done it. Gangbuster's won from First Affair. Touch of Silver. I think he's got third from Dark Prospect. Barry's Rabbit. Then Upwards Others. He's a Parker. Swift Platinum got tired. Rhino Buster. Inject the Venom. Balden's Mill. And 5 degrees is last. Gangbuster's won it. Jade McNaught. She could win on a broomstick at the moment. And having the run of the race there behind the tearaway leader, Swift Platinum and Gangbuster. Trained by Peter Fernie. 6 winners for the day for Peter Fernie. He's previously won Hannon's Handicaps. He's won a couple of them. He's won a couple of Kalgoorlie Cups, and now he's added a Boulder Cup. He's the leading trainer up here, and Jade McNaught has done the job. First Affair, number 6 has run second. Third goes to Touch of Silver, ridden by Mitchell Pateman. and Dark Prospect has run 4th. So the numbers are 8, 6, 2 and 5. 8, 6, 2 and 5. A half length by a half length. A half length by a half length. The time is 2:09.91. 2:09.91. So Gangbuster, the local galloper, jumping out well, getting the run of the race there behind Swift Platinum, came off the leader's back. Barry's Rabbit loomed. First Affair and Touch of Silver out wide. Gangbuster hit the lead and has fought on to win. So there you have it, punters. Gangbuster at big odds has won the Blue Spec Drilling Boulder Cup for 2019. 6 winners on the day here for local trainer Peter Fernie. He's a 6-year-old bay gelding. He's by Blackfriars out of Oopsie Doopsie. Is owned by J. Andrews, KJ Gregson, HH Gregson, R. Drag, KM Drag, P. Flay, W. Downs, and Luke Fernie, all the owners there of Gangbuster. Congratulations to Peter Fernie, the trainer, and Jade McNaught. She is riding everything in front of her at the moment. Congratulations to her. Top ride, jumped out, sat second, and too good. First Affair has run a good game race there, trained by Adam Durant. William Pike in the saddle, a 7-year-old bay mare. She won this race last year. She's by Saxon out of Black Maiden. Is owned by PV Walsh, ND Taylor, EV Bunbury, and RW Evans, the owners of First Affair. Trained by Adam Durant. William Pike is second. And a Touch of Silver, another one from the Durant yard. Mitch Pateman in the saddle has run third. And fourth in goes to Dark Prospect, ridden by Stephen Parnham. 8, 6, 2 and 5 as Gangbuster about to come in. Gangbuster has raced well up here this year in restricted company. It's his 6th win from 31 starts. Suited today, that good draw and the way the race was run. So put your hands together for him, ladies and gentlemen, as Gangbuster comes back in, winning the Boulder Cup.
Win of the 2019 Boulder Cup. We managed to grab her after she won with Fair Scenario earlier in the season, and then she went and topped that. She went and won a Coolgardie Cup, then a Finally Stakes, now a Boulder Cup. She is WA's new Wonder Girl, Jade McNaught. Talk us through the run, first of all. Talk us through the false start.
Yeah, well, I thought I'd probably be a scratching, but obviously Fernie has him pretty fit because his heart rate was still pretty low and we pretty much did an entire lap. We were one of the last two to pull up, so he'd already done a whole lap, come back around, but he's quite sensible, so it didn't really work him up too much. And then, yeah, I thought I was a little bit worried that he'd get tired, but Fernie's done a great job with him and he just kept kicking.
What about in the run when Swift Platinum was setting some pretty hot sections down the back? Were you always thinking that you were in the prime position?
Oh, I thought it was brilliant because mine can get going a little bit and he was just settled in beautifully behind him. I didn't want to have him box seat, but I just sat in the cover until the others reached me and I was able to peel off around its back and he just kept kicking for me.
What about your own confidence levels? Could you be riding any better?
There's lots of room for improvement.
That's what we want to hear. Congratulations, Jade.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
There's a very humble Jade McNaught with a win of a Boulder Cup now to add to her CV. It's an ever-growing CV after the race number 8 at Kalgoorlie, the Blue Spec Drilling Boulder Cup.
All clear. All clear's already been sounded. Thanks, Dave. After the Blue Spec Drilling Boulder Cup listed level, and we all look forward to the Kalgoorlie Cup in 2 weeks' time. This year taken out by Gangbuster, Kambana Lodge, Peter Fernie teaming up with Jade McNaught. Quite an emotional win for Gangbuster, who has been up deep into a preparation and has taken them on here today in the Blue Spec Drilling Boulder Cup. We introduce John Ralph, Chairman of the Kalgoorlie Boulder Race Club Board, to commence proceedings.
Thank you, Krishane. Thank you, Krishane. What a fabulous 2019 edition of the Boulder Cup we've just witnessed, everyone. Not without controversy, however, no race round is without controversy. Fantastic training performance by Peter Fernie, and what a great ride by Jade McNaught. Congratulations to and all the connections. Blue Spec Drilling came on board last year as the Boulder Cup sponsor. We were a couple of years without one, and Murray Black and his team helped us out, and they've signed on for 3 years, and they're into the second year now. We can't get Murray to the Boulder Cup. He said, one condition, I will not go to the races. I'll sit and watch it on TV. I'm happy to help you out, but you won't get me at the races. But I'm sure Murray would be very pleased to see the crowd, the turnout that we have at the Boulder Cup this year. But Murray also, he'll help anybody out. He sponsors everyone around town. He's a great ambassador for the city of the Kalgoorlie Boulder. He puts his name out there. He puts our name out there all around the world where he goes and drills, and he's a master at it. Thank you, Murray. So obviously Murray's not here today, so I'll just ask Peter to come up and collect the trainer's trophy for the Boulder Cup on behalf of Blue Spec Drilling. Is that yours, that one? That's it, that's it. Well done. Thank you. Well done, Peter, if you want to say a few words. Thank you.
To the KBRC, and special thanks for them. The round's always great, and it's really good to see so many people here today with the change of how they've had to change the round around to make our races better, hopefully. I hope we get as many people as this at the Hannons and the Kalgoorlie Cup, so I hope you all keep supporting. To Trevor Andrews and Peter Flay, I've had a great success off them too, and they've been great supporters of me. Luke and my wife bought a share in this horse and done a great job. To all my staff, they're fantastic. I love every one of them, and they work really hard, and I've got a few of them that have had a bit of checkered history, and they've really come through, and I'd be lost without them. Special thanks. A few years ago I was sitting there watching TV, I think it was only about 12 months ago, and I seen a girl ride up the bush somewhere, and I thought, well, I'm going to start giving her a go. She most probably cost me a couple of races, but it's all well worth it now. She rides that well, and she's going to be the leading girl rider in Australia one day. Thank you.
Good work. Well done, Pete. And now, can that leading rider come up, Jade McNaught? Well done, Jade.
Cheers. Perfect, thank you. Just say something about that. Firstly, I'd like to thank the club, the committee and the sponsors of the event. This is my third in a row for Kalgoorlie, so the club's been great to me. The biggest thank you is to Mr Fernie. He's obviously started off my career last year here at the club, and this has basically been the foundation to my riding. So a massive thank you to Peter Fernie, Luke Fernie and the rest of the team. I wouldn't be here without you. I appreciate it.
Good work, well done. Get the photo.
Well, that's the conclusion of the presentation, folks, for the Blue Spec Drilling Boulder Cup. And